Are we an advanced species? Are we? We look around our lives. We see our technology, our mobile phones, our computers. We look back over history and we see the invention of the wheel, the discovery and control of fire. We look at engineering. We see power generating plants. We look at our road network and our rail system. And we see these things as ours. We say things like, we have gone to the moon. We have created pasteurization. We have vaccines. But are you Louis Pasteur? Are you, let's say, the person who invented or came up with the idea of inoculation? You personally. I mean, what have I achieved today? I've got up, I've done some work, I've done the washing up, talked to a few friends, and I've turned on the camera and I've spoken to it. I haven't fought great wars. I haven't designed great machines. I haven't been the engineer who's designed bridges, works out every stress and every strain. No. Why is it, therefore, that we as a species identify ourselves with the greatness of the few rather than the stupidity of the many? Are we an advanced species, or are we a species who has complex communication and a complex society, and a few great people, and the few great people, a small percentage of our population, who has invented, designed, created, innovated? They are the ones, surely, who have the right to use the word we when talking about greatness. Whereas us, on the other hand, is a different group of people. We're a different subset. I was thinking about the in-group versus out-group mentality that we humans seem to have. Why is it that there is such a strong pull towards the anti, the negative, the action against, the hatred, resentfulness, the perceiving of another group, whether this is a political group or a religious group or a non-religious group, or a race or a gender or a sexuality, or a class or culture, or a different post-coded region in some parts of the world? Why is it that we look out for the negatives and we don't look out for the positives? Why don't we look out for the things that we believe in, that we regard as good, and to look for those things within the groups which are defined or identified by a title? Why is it that we as a species look out for antithesis as a means of self-definition, or definition, I should say? What is it that we are doing in the way in which we live, whereby we have intellectually somehow chosen to build up our self-identity through looking at a negative in another apparent group of people? And it is an apparent group of people, not necessarily a real group of people. They are apparent because of their title, because of their alleged self-identification, or indeed self-expression, or other ways in which they talk about themselves or think about themselves. And what is it when we come across media, let's say on the internet, a selection of YouTube videos for instance, that helps to build up within its own culture or audience a sense of identity as a result of observing and encouraging the perception of a perceived negative. What good, if any, can come out of directly observing, commenting upon, and expressing a feeling of negativity, or a negativity which is believed that another group somehow possesses? If you were part of a group of people who was engaging with or perceiving one particular type of media, which is, let's say, blogs, newspapers, TV, radio, books, and it's just the media itself, virtual reality maybe, okay, anything, and you're engaging with that media rather a lot, and that media not necessarily having a specific argument, but having a certain slant against a particular perceived group of people, which is which is by the very nature of the media expressed or defined by something. What impact is that going to have on your thoughts, your moods, okay? Your cognition, the way that you put ideas together, and how is that going to change your perception of other people, full stop, and indeed your ability to get on and get by with people? How is that going to drive and change your personal ideologies when it comes to life itself, your dealings with your family, your friends, your community, when you're coming across people who are by their very nature different, because all people are? When you just go shopping, for instance, and you see a mass of people there, will there be a little radar going on in your mind to say, oh, that could be one of those people that I should be avoiding, because that is what the media which I have been consuming has instructed me about what is right and what is wrong? Is this all necessarily all that healthy? And how would this help societies and communities to grow, and people themselves to grow and to get over issues? There are some communities that have got together, so it seems, not just because they have an antithesis or another group which they dislike, but instead they build up a sense of identity or alleged identity based upon negatives that they themselves have, and seem to lack a desire to move out of or to heal from that sense of negativity or sickness of one form or another. People who engage in some cultures or some groups may even look at themselves as being insane, but will almost respect or revere or worship their insanity, their own personal issues, not to try and move beyond them, but to try and seek pleasure in them, a form of personal self-reverie maybe. This could be to do with diets even, people who enjoy bad quality food, chocolate bars, people who enjoy smoking, people who engage with, let's say, drug and alcohol-based behavior, as well as other forms of behavior which is detrimental to them in other ways. Gambling, let's say. Just by example. But there are so many other examples which I have not mentioned in this one particular video. Who is this we that people talk about when they say, aren't we beyond that? Is it us as a species, or is it them as a perceived group or type of person, and is therefore also a form of self-worship? We, in my opinion, are very primitive. We have primitive instincts and primitive drives. The fact that we can use a computer doesn't really make us any more evolved than our cats or dogs. The fact that we've got complex language merely enables us, in my opinion, at times, to express our animal self in a more complex manner. Once in a while, we're given little windows of opportunity to try and move beyond things, to grow as a result of seeing a different combination of ideas. A suggestion to you is to embrace those moments, because it's only through moving forward and being brave enough to embrace ambiguity, in my opinion, can we learn how to be free from the slavery of our own personal sense of identity and problems. Just a few ramblings from the depth of my mind today. God bless.